Today is September 23rd, 2014. My name is Edna Sussman. I'm a reference librarian here at the Half Hollow Hills Community Library in Dix Hills, New York. We are interviewing Eli Levine, a World War II veteran, as part of our Veterans Testimonial Project and in collaboration with the Library of Congress's Veterans History Project. Thank you so much, Eli, for being here today and for participating in our project, and thank you so much for your service.
You're quite welcome.
Eli, where and when were you born?
Brooklyn, January 31st, 1923.
And what were your parents' names and what did they do for a living?
My mother was Dora. She was a housewife. My father was David. He was the manufacturer of clothing. During the war, he made for the Army.
And after the war?
He stayed in that business.
In the clothing business. And did you have any siblings? And
I had two brothers.
Their names and...
Raymond and Seymour.
And what did they do?
Raymond was a civilian. My brother was in the Army. He was killed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
A week before the war ended in Italy.
What were you doing before you entered the service?
I started making eyeglasses. I just finished school and I was working for about a year in the eyeglass business.
And which branch of the military did you serve?
Army.
Were you drafted or did you enlist?
Drafted.
You're drafted. What happened when you departed for training camp and during your early days of training? What was that like?
To me, it was exciting. It was a new venture. We didn't know nothing about it, and it was enjoyable until we got to camp.
Where was the camp?
We started out at Camp Kilmer, and then Camp Upton right here in Long Island. Then we transferred to Mississippi, the hellhole of the country.
Why do you say that?
It was a huge place, no huts, no thing. That's just a couple of quarters for the officers. On the weekends, we had nothing to do, so we built a little flower garden around the offices. Our duties, every morning, we got up 10 o'clock in the morning, to put a pack on our back, marched 10 miles out, dug a foxhole, 10 minutes later filled it up, marched to another place, another foxhole. We did this 4 days a week. There's nothing to do there yet.
But was that part of your training?
No, they had nothing to do. We had the Army was a snafu, if you know the word snafu. We won the war despite us. We won it because the Germans were worse than we were. But there's so many things wrong that happened. It was unreal.
But what did they train you in the camp to do?
Well, they trained me in as a litter bearer.
What is that?
A fellow runs out with the stretch with the Red Cross and pick up the wounded or dead and take them back.
What was that called?
A litter bearer. Litter.
Litter.
Litter. The reason that happened, when you go into the Army, you're interviewed by somebody. They have a long list. They have a long list of names, like an accountant is number 42, optician 88, a truck driver's 10. Now, who interviews you but somebody who went in the Army a week before you did? He knows nothing. It just goes by that. I go in the Army. What'd you do? Optician. How long you do it? I was a kid. I said, 6 months. They write down optician, inexperienced. All right? So at least they put me in the medics. Because usually, if you're an accountant, they make you a truck driver. A truck driver, they make an accountant. Nobody gets what they do. The reason this happened, that I'm ahead of myself. I was in a litter bear, trained to be a litter bearer in the woods, running animals and stuff. But about 6 months later, my sister-in-law reads a little note in the newspaper. The Army is desperately in need of opticians. If you know anybody in the Army who's an optician, please notify Professor Gillies. Now, I went to school, so she called them up and they yanked me out and put me in the optical school. They sent us for 6 weeks to try it to see if I can do it. The reason for that was not one person in the Army can make eyeglasses. They sent over a whole cadre of them over to North Africa. They couldn't make eyeglasses. For a simple reason, in those days when it first came out, each person did one job. Like Lucille Ball in the chocolate factory,
Right.
remember One Piece? the optician, this guy did cutting, he put the lens in the machine, he took it out of the machine, he beveled it, he put it in the frame, he checked it out. But they couldn't do the whole thing. A regular optician does the entire operation. So they had no opticians in the Army. That was a snafu.
Was that because no one knew the whole process?
Right. None of them knew it, because they were trained, and in those days, it was all piecemeal. But when they interviewed, they say, how long they are? 20 years. Oh, experience. They got the jobs.
I see. What year was it that you started?
1943.
Okay. Do you recall your instructors, and if so, in the training, what were they like?
Down south, they were awful. They were rebels. They hated New Yorkers, and they hated Jewish people. I was a combination of both. In fact, the funny thing is, in 1943, the book came out, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn,
Right.
and a movie. So one of them says to me down there, hey, Levine, you got a tree in Brooklyn? They honestly thought that. So I said, you schmo, you. There's more trees in Prospect Park than you got in your whole state. That's all I had to say. I was on a list.
That's amazing.
KP, God duty, everything. I opened my big mouth.
Did you get any specialized training?
No, just sent me to school to make sure that I was an optician.
Optician. So how did you adapt to military life, including physical regimen, the barracks, the food, the social life? How was that?
I'm a very simple person to please. I was happy. I liked it.
You weren't married at that point?
No. In fact, some of the fellas in my outfit, they were thrilled. No complaints. They said, I get 3 square meals a day, 2 pair of shoes. They're from Kentucky. They actually meant it. Other guys were moaning about it. These guys were thrilled.
Now let's move on to the wartime service. Where did you serve?
Well, I started out in England, went to France, Belgium, Holland, Luxembourg, and Germany. See, I had a portable optical unit.
I'm sorry, what?
A portable optical unit.
Uh-huh.
It was a 6-man unit with a truck. 5 go in the truck, and 1 has to stay behind for that. Now, one thing you learn in the Army, never volunteer. Never. I didn't volunteer, but they picked me. So I was left behind with the portable unit, the thing I showed you. Had a cutter and a stone just to grind the lens. The others traveled around with a truck.
So you were basically in one spot.
No, we traveled.
You,
Wherever they needed us. It's the 33rd Medical Depot. My outfit went to different bases, and they supplied clothing, food. They did whatever they needed in that company.
oh, I see. If you were, now let me ask you something. When you first, where did you ship out from? You said you started out in England.
No, I shipped out from here.
From New York?
Sure.
On a boat?
No planes then.
Were you on the front lines?
No, I was 3 miles behind.
So you didn't witness any combat action?
No, not directly.
So your duties were basically manufacturing or putting
Eyeglasses.
together the eyeglasses?
But when they didn't do that, it's not all day long.
Right.
We pitched in to do anything. Guard duty, KP, the works.
So you did everything?
A truckload of coal comes in, we have to unload the truckload of coal.
Whatever needed to be done?
Exactly.
What kind of friendships and camaraderie did you form while serving, and with whom?
I only had one close friend, and he came home with me from there, but we lost contact.
You lost contact with the other guys?
Yeah.
How was it when you were in, it was always the same group traveling together, right?
Yes. There were about 33 people in the unit.
33?
Yes, and we traveled around different parts. We were assigned to a 3rd Army, another army, another place. We went all over, wherever they needed us.
How did you get from England to the mainland?
England we went to France.
Yes,
We went back by boat.
by boat. And you became friendly with those 30-some people
At the time,
at
yes.
the time.
But after I lost contact with all of them.
Were they all pretty much your generation?
Oh, yes,
Same
they were all
age,
the same
20s,
In
20-year-olds?
the 20s. There was one guy about 30. He was we called him Pop.
How, And you had one commanding officer with you?
No, we had a colonel, a major, 2 lieutenants, sergeants. In fact, our rating was supposed to be tech sergeant. But by the time we got into the outfit, it was a new outfit. And every organization has like six sergeants, 5 corporals, 5.
Oh.
So by the time we got in there, it was a new outfit. Our ratings were given away. So for 2 years and 9 months, or 10 months, I was a PFC all through the war. Before you get out of the Army, you have to be discharged with your proper rating. So they made me a tech sergeant when I was discharged.
Why would they do that? Why would that be done that way?
Well, they had no more ratings to give out.
Oh.
You know, if in its company, if they have 6 tech sergeants, you can't get 7 or 8 or 9. 6. They have nobody. We weren't there. They went to the cook, went to this guy. They gave them out to other people
Oh, I
because
see.
they didn't know we were coming in there.
Oh, I see.
It was a brand new outfit, and we were the first to operate with the overseas.
Really?
After that war came in, we were the first ones.
What did they do before you all got there? If they needed glasses?
I said that they couldn't make them. That's why they hurry up called for the opticians.
I see.
They had no optician in the Army to make glasses.
Wow.
It was a real snafu.
I mean, I guess people lost or broke them, or they decided they needed better vision.
You get 2 pair.
Oh.
2 pair of glasses. And in fact, half the times when I fixed them, I had no machinery to check if your lens broke. I couldn't tell what your lens was. I had to take a lens and figure out what you had, and I gave you something close to it. If you needed a -4, if you had a -4, I take a lens to +4 and hold it against the broken piece, and if it shows no motion, it means that's your prescription.
Wow.
So it took me an hour to determine what you need first. It wasn't easy.
So you traveled with the materials that you needed to manufacture them?
I had this little thing here. My whole outfit was this thing. There's a little, they call it an M2 trunk. And there were lenses in one side, there's a cutter on the top, and a hand stone. No machinery, nothing else. And it was quite raw.
Wow. So you were able to produce a set of glasses
Yes.
right from there?
But it took about an hour, 2 hours to make 1 pair, which was
It seems pretty quick,
quick.
no?
Today, in 1 hour, you can make 100 pair.
Oh.
No more cutting lenses. It's all plastic. They put it in a machine. A diamond stone cuts in a second. There were no diamond stones. There was just plain hand stone, and you had to turn back and crank. I had a general come over one time to fix his glasses. I said, he had to turn the stones. I'm one man. I said, harder, harder. He's going harder. And if you lean against the stone with the lens, it stops the stone. So he had harder, harder. Afterwards, he said, what's your rank, son? He didn't see. I said, a PFC. He almost died. It's a general. It's the funniest thing.
Funny. Okay, now how did you stay in touch with family and friends back home?
Letters.
Letters. How often did you receive or write?
I can't remember. It was quite often.
Yeah.
The worst letter I got when my brother died.
Oh, you were overseas at the time?
I was in Germany. He was in Italy. He died a week before the war ended.
How did that happen? Do you know?
Well, he was in the infantry. The worst kind of is they walk along the tanks. You know, tanks, and foot soldiers go alongside. The artillery from the Germans always try to hit the tanks. So they hit a tank and he blew them up.
Oh.
It was heartbreaking.
How old was he?
He was 4 years older than me. I was 22. He was 26 at the time.
Sad.
It was rough.
So the Army sent you a letter, or you got a letter from home?
That also was a snafu. They couldn't send me home.
Why?
The war was over, and theoretically supposed to go home. We found out people at home, both the Red Cross, everything else, to get us home. Because the war was over. They couldn't get me home. Why? Our company had requested. Nobody told us that.
Had what?
Had requested to send Eli Levine home.
Uh-huh.
They said they had to do it.
Oh, so it was a mix-up, yeah.
So
How much longer did you have to stay over there then?
About 6 months.
Wow. What did you do? The war was over. Then you,
We loafed around,
you know.
loafed around. And coming home, we came home in three destroyers, different ones. It was the worst weather in the history of England. The worst weather. The first destroyer got cracked in half. They had to win them back. They warned us, each one's 50 miles apart. They warned us about it. So scuttlebutt came. We're going back.
Oh.
We said, that's a buzz bounty. We had to go back to Germany. They were afraid of the weather.
Oh.
So a week later, this was Christmas, a week later, New Year's Eve, they sent us on Queen Mary,
What year was that?
1946, 43, 46. They came home on a Queen Mary. Instead of 8,000 soldiers, there were 16,000 soldiers.
On the one?
8,000 slept in hammocks. The other 8,000 slept on cardboard on the deck, on the inside deck. One night. Next night we switched.
Oh.
So that's what confusion that was. And then we spent on New Year's Eve that way.
Well, when you went back to Germany, how long until you actually got back on to come home?
About a week later.
A week later.
Yeah. They doubled us up with another batch on a boat.
Wow. What did you do while you were stationed there for recreation or when you were off duty?
I don't drink. A lot of the fellas went into the beer and all that stuff. I don't know what I did. I don't remember.
You didn't travel? It's wartime.
No.
You couldn't. You had to stay near your unit, right? Yeah.
Well, in France, when I was in Paris, we had a 3-day pass. So it took about 12 of us out to the Folies Bergère.
Oh, how was that?
That was good. That's the only time we went anywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they must have had a mess. They had somewhere to get where you ate.
Oh, a big mess hall.
A mess hall.
Big, lot of food. Big sign there. Take all you want, but eat all you take.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, he goes himself and throw it away.
But there wasn't much waste, probably.
No.
Is there anything else with the wartime service you can think of? Any stories? Were you injured at all at any time?
No.
Was there anything you did that you might have regretted? No. Or,
One thing I found out about the Army, I never realized it when I was a kid, 20 years old, down south in the Army, I never realized that 3/4 of the country never saw the ocean.
Huh.
We as New Yorkers, what's an ocean? You see it. They never saw the ocean.
That's a good
I was
point.
amazed.
Yep.
It's something I learned.
That's funny. But you saw the ocean when you were in Europe?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then the ocean from here, but
Yeah.
these fellows never saw the ocean.
Wow.
So when you got in the ocean, he said, my God, they were getting sick. They couldn't see it. Where we look, you couldn't see far away. And
Was it pretty rough on the ship going back and forth?
at one time with the destroyer, that was a rough thing. And the waves were horrendous. You ever see the movie with Charlie Chaplin, where in the mess hall you walk with your tray, all of a sudden you're like this and everything. It's like, that was us.
Wow.
They had us suspend eating. They put us back on our bunks, strapped in. We couldn't walk around.
Wow.
That's how bad the waves were. The worst hit, the worst thing they had in the Army.
The storm. It was like a storm.
It was more than a storm. That's why one boat cracked in half.
Did they lose any
No,
personnel?
They limped back to port, but they wanted us not to go that way, so we turned back. We were lucky.
Now, when the war ended, where were you?
In Germany,
In Germany?
yeah.
Do you remember the town, the name of the town?
Fürth, F-U-R-T-H, right outside of Nuremberg,
Oh, okay.
where the trials were.
So you said you returned on the...
Queen Mary, one of those,
Queen
it's a
Mary.
big one.
And how were you received by your family and community?
Well, it wasn't a happy occasion,
It wasn't.
but my brother,
Oh, right.
but they were thrilled to get me back, so,
Wow.
it was quite an event.
Yeah. And how did you adjust to civilian life?
Very quickly,
Really?
no problems at all.
Why do you think that was?
I had no I didn't have any problems in the Army. I didn't have any problems then. And coming home, I was just happy to be here.
Yeah.
One thing I learned, I appreciated a good bed. That's the one thing we appreciated. Because out there, you lived on the floor half the times.
I guess they had showers and
Oh,
bathrooms.
showers. In fact, in first town we went to in England was Wolverhampton. It was a bathhouse. A bathhouse. People go in there like a steam room,
Oh, yeah.
but the bathtubs in there are 8 feet long, 4 feet high. You had to get a stool to get up on to go into the bathtub. And we lived in another place.
But that wasn't just built for the
No,
Americans.
it was in a town.
It's a town.
In Bastogne, I was in Bastogne, the Battle of the Bulge. We lived in churches.
Really? You slept?
In the church. That side was the nuns, this side were the GIs in Bastogne. Luckily, we were pulled out a week before the battle. We went somewhere else. And then after the battle, we came back. The place was devastated. It was like...
Where you had been was completely destroyed.
Bastogne, and it's the Battle of the Bulge. I don't know if you remember that.
Well, I wasn't alive then, but
But the entire town was rubble.
wow.
Everything was overturned. But we came back there afterwards.
When you were stationed in different cities in Europe, I mean, the people there were pretty receptive to you, and
Yes, except in England, they resented us because we were like 50,000 soldiers. The town was 5,000.
oh wow.
And the resentment was the soldiers took over all the girls
How was there enough room there for all of you? I don't.
out in the fields. We weren't bivouacked in the town.
Did they build covering for you?
Pup tents,
Pup tents.
if we were lucky.
Wow.
And unfortunately, the English hated us too, because the English girls liked Negroes.
Oh.
It's a fact.
Really?
They didn't want to go to the American soldiers, they liked the Negroes. So the American soldiers were mad, and the English were mad. It was quite a deal. This is in 40. It was in 44.
But you had to wear your uniform all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they knew who you were.
Sure.
Have you remained in contact with or reunited with any fellow veterans at all?
No,
No.
lost contact with all of them, except the one.
The one.
Yeah.
Does he live nearby?
No, in the last couple of years, he lost his wife, so he sort of went off the rocker. So,
To where?
he went off his rocker.
Oh.
So I lost contact with him too.
Uh-huh. Are you a member of any veterans organizations?
No.
And what did you do upon returning? You went back into the eyeglass business?
Yes.
And you did that for the rest of your working life?
71 years of it.
Really?
I'm still making eyeglasses now
Really?
at a slower pace, but I do it for in between vacations. I like to take a lot of vacations.
Nice.
So
So when you returned from the military, you started in right where you left off
I did
making...
not take advantage of the GI Bill.
No.
I should have. Because you make more money that way. The government pays you money to do it. I like a fool, went right to work
You'd gotten a degree in
as an optician,
optician?
dispensing optician.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to go to Columbia to become an optometrist, but there's about a 2-year wait.
Oh.
The only place I can go to was Philadelphia, but at that time I wasn't going to leave my mother, so I didn't go. I stayed home with her
So your family still lived in New York?
in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn,
Yeah.
How did your wartime experiences affect your life?
Made me a better person. In a
Really?
sense, yeah.
Why do you think?
I appreciate the simple things in life. I'm a very simple person. You give me a book, I can sit and read a book by myself. I'm a loner. She loves to go out with people. Women stick in. I can stay. I like myself. I can stay home doing nothing, and it made me appreciate that more.
I wonder why? Because you were in a larger group of people, or what?
No, it's just my nature.
What are some life lessons you learned from military service?
I don't think I learned any. I'm the way I was before, and the same way now.
How has your military service impacted your feelings about war and the military in general?
War is hell. And politically speaking, you can't talk about it today. It's not the best thing. And it should never be a war, but unfortunately you need it.
How do you feel towards the military?
I liked it better than now. Now it's too political.
It's too,
Too political.
in what way?
They can't do what they want to do. The generals want to do this, and the government wants to do that, and it's a conflict.
So you think it was different back
Much
in the
different.
day?
Much different.
They had more leeway to
Sure.
function as military
The
command.
whole country's that way, just like teachers. A teacher years ago was respected. Today, if you have man's a child, the child puts you up on charges. A policeman. You used to respect the police. Now you almost spit on them, so to speak. The whole world has changed.
Changed.
In fact, my grandson said, he's 42 now, he says, I wish I lived in your generation. He said, it was so much nicer. And it's true.
What message would you like to leave for future generations who might hear and see this interview? Take your time, it's fine.
Live a good life. Be happy. Take one day at a time.
Respect. Respect.
Oh, naturally, respect. Respect the elders, respect everybody. Show people, respect people. And be normal.
So again, is there anything that you'd like to add on, or any story, anything that happened that you can think of? Take your time. During your service?
No, after the service.
After the service? Okay.
My father and mother went to Israel,
What year was that? Do you know?
1955. I don't know, 1965. On the way back, they decided to stop off in Italy. My brother's buried there.
What happened to his father?
He had a heart attack.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. What are you talking? Did you ask him what happened to his father?
No,
He had
what?
a heart attack and he died there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wow. And your mother came home.
Till we got home, that's another thing within the State Department. We were never notified. A little article in the newspaper, David Levine, 245 Horton Street, was visiting his son's grave and he died. So this girl calls my sister-in-law and says, is that your father-in-law? We didn't know about it. The first thing we know, we got a telegram from the State Department, police sent $5,000 for your father's remains.
Oh my.
Yeah.
What, your brother was buried in Italy,
Italy.
in a military
Oh, yeah.
cemetery?
Friends of mine went there. I have pictures of all that. My daughter went there, took pictures.
And you've been there too? No.
She went at me.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I love to go to Italy, but she says, no, you don't go.
I'm superstitious.
So when you came back, when you came back from the war, how long after that did you get married, meet your wife and get married?
Came back in 46, we were married in 48.
Where did you meet?
Rockaway Beach.
What?
In Rockaway Beach. We were married 66 years this December.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mazel tov. Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Had 2 children left. My son died. He was on the kidney machine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
28 years. Longest time.
Wow.
And we had 2 children, 2 grandchildren. I say I have 4 grandchildren. I treat them as children because we raised them.
Oh, really?
My daughter got divorced from not a nice person, so we raised them. And we have also 2 great-grandchildren, and a 3rd one just came 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
So
congratulations.
we're 3 now.
Very nice. Have you told them your wartime experiences at all?
Not really.
No.
They don't know. Someday I'll sit down and talk to them.
They have to know. Maybe they'll know from our
Yeah.
chat. I wanted to hold up that picture of you.
This one here?
Yes,
the other one?
yes. You can get closer. Okay, so this was taken, do you know what year?
1944.
So you'd been in about a year?
Yeah.
Do you know where that was taken?
This is in 1945 in Castellon, Germany.
Germany.
Castellon.
Nice, thank you.
There's a hidden design on this one also.
Yeah,
Is
that
that-
one we got,
That's my
the,
unit.
the glass things.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add or that you can recall?
Not that I know of. I'm trying to think. Half the time you stayed in camp and nothing to do there. Nothing to do in the Army. I mean, just laying around.
Must have been a long day. So you wrote letters?
Sure. Letters and got received mail. But that's a nice part, receiving the mail.
Yeah.
So when that came, it was amazing.
Okay, so I guess that would be it. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Thank you so very,
I don't
very
know how
much.
good it came out, because I don't talk that loud and stuff.
I'm sure it's fine. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure.